Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, it's a record result, a very good result, heavy just in 1 week. The number of strikes, the number of missiles and drones that Russia has poured over Ukraine, this caused the allies to panic Westerners. Despite the fact that Ukraine continues to strike at the heart of the system economic of Ukraine, Russia, I was going to say. But what Russia has poured out, has deposited on Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky himself is exceeded. He himself takes stock. You know that he is at home when he does the balance sheet. It always takes into account the subjectivity. I mean, he doesn't give the exact figures, but given the situation, he is forced to bring out the figures, exact Western allies who are not still understanding that the Russia is devouring Ukraine. To understand. That's why even if it has decreased some figures, but the figures he gave are colossal figures. Yes, Russia has done very well just in a week. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are talking about. We will talk about this geopolitical conference that I ask you to share with Maximum. Give lots of likes. You should always leave a note in comment. If you don't have a word specific, you put hello the samurai or you put our political slogan today, it is already won. So let's go into the depths, ladies and gentlemen. This is a massive Russian offensive. 1,500 drones were dropped on Ukraine and more than 1,280 Russian bombs. It's too much. More than 1,500 drones and more than 1,280 bombs just in 1 week. This is a record result since the beginning of Russian invasion of Ukraine since 2022. With each passing month, Russia is raising his level of striking. So, these are the words that are said through Kiev. It's a rain of drones, bombs, and of missiles. These rains of drones and missiles are fallen on all regions of Ukraine, whether east, west, the north, or the south. According to Volodymyr Zelensky, Russia launched 1,500 in 1 week drones, 1,280 guided bombs. When we're talking about guided bombs, they are bombs still very dangerous, who never miss their target. Imagine 1,280, it's huge, 50 missiles. Yes, this is one of the first times. Well, we've already seen Russia launch 40 missiles at once. It was the day before yesterday night without tolerance. So these daily strikes, these strikes strike daily Ukraine, also targeting both military and civilian infrastructure. There is no difference anymore, not at all, of difference. And so in the night of Saturday to Sunday, so overnight yesterday, 54 Shah drones and drones of the hour, therefore deception drones were launched. 33 were shot down, but 21 hit 8 different sites in the country. We will come back. Different sites in the country have been hit by 21 Shahed drones. And you know, when we talk about Shahed drones, these are drones which are produced in huge quantities because Russia has the right to produce these drones, because the manufacturing cost of these drones, it is cheaper, but also the impact damages very seriously. And the most dangerous aspect for the drones, Shahed, that is that missile defenses, anti-missiles, which must intercept these drones, need to spend a lot of money to be able to intercept. That is to say, intercepting just one of these drones is very expensive. It even exceeds the cost of the manufacture of the drone. So it must be said that in Volodymyr's accusations, Zelensky, there are foreign components. Zelensky claims Russian weapons contain more than 132,000 components, foreigners. So Zelensky no longer limits, now the thing is Russia alone. Zelensky seeks to involve the whole allies of Russia who obviously help Russia in the framework of the production, whether drones or ammunition. So the balance sheet is so huge that Zelensky would still like that if the war must continue, whether it is the own biological means. We will to say so of Russia, which is used. Zelensky does not limit himself there. He quotes states who are acting alongside the Russia, which allowed Russia to strike so much Ukraine. He quotes pieces from Europe. Even Europe is accused because in the drones that strike Ukraine, they take care, debrief and analyze them. Such a piece, which country does it come from? Because every part is marked. Each drone is marked. This allows to know the origin and that it has parts that come from Europe, United States of America, China, and the Japan. He himself no longer understands nothing. How is it that America defends Ukraine? Mordukus can put himself in such a game to deliver certain parts to Russia to allow the Russia to continue hitting Ukraine for Kiev. This proves that Moscow is bypassing widely the sanctions and that the Moscow supply chain remain intact despite the war. This means that if Russia manages to hit Ukraine so hard, it is because it is the contribution from many countries, whether countries allied with Russia or even countries non-allied countries, countries within which the Russia was paying initially before the conflict and before the sanctions, where Russia paid for spare parts or parts for assemblies. These coins continue to exist on the machines, devices, drones, Russians. This means that the sanctions are there, but those who decided to sanction Russia continues to hidden way to sell, to trade with Russia. And that's also the consequences of war on war, like in war. Everyone lives their own life interest. These are the ones we call the businessmen of the crisis. If American industries prefer to sell spare parts to Russia, the objective is not to supporting Ukraine, is getting rich themselves. And so, do these people will agree to the end of the war? No. Since everything that is hidden is expensive and Russia really has it need. Russia is therefore obliged to pay slightly higher prices than at the price Russia paid before because it's secret. And as long as Russia continues to pay with them, they fill their pockets. The conflict will continue for their good herd. So ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine was hit very hard. And so here's the headline. Thank you. To share it as much as possible. I will come back later with news. So it was the voice of your humble servant, the samurai, Mr.